First, I will explain what is the OIC goal, and secondly, I will develop the killing of freedom concept of defamation of religions, supported by OIC. Thirdly, we will finish with the Istanbul Process. I will explain. It's quite technical. You will forgive me. I'm not used to it, but it was important to do something little technical, and the Western reaction against this offensive, the OIC anti-freedom theocratic agenda. First, what is OIC and its goals? The OIC is the most important intergovernmental organization over the world, just after ONU, United Nations, and non-allied group. It's one of the most important group of nations, but the only one based on religion. The only group intergovernmental at official level who is based on defense of religion, defense of Muslim interest, and extension of Islam with a project of conquest of the world. It's very important to know that the main leaders are not only fascist and totalitarian countries such as Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran. It's also friend of the West. And I have been criticized many times by my American friends when I criticized Turkey in the past. And now they all recognize that Turkey is not a friend of the West, it's not a friend of NATO, it's one of the new leaders of Islamic world. It's a neo-Ottoman country. Erdogan has shown his face with Israel, criticizing Jewish in the media, accusing them to plot against humanity. Then those leaders of OIC are not only fascist states, bad scene, rogue states, but also friends of the West. It's very important to know it. The main goal of OIC are two. It's the main goal of all Islamists, democratic Islamists or terrorist Islamists. They share, on the long run, the same goal. First, to re-Islamize Islamic world by using any kind of weapons. And it's why the Arab Spring was something fantastic. The ingenious Western, even from the left, the right wing, Westerners say it's fantastic. The spring, Arab Spring is fantastic. They are like us, young ladies with no veil and young people with blue jean, democracy. But we know that the aim of Arab Spring was to remove like secular or Shi'i countries in order to place a Sunni Sharia-based movement like we see in Morocco. Recently in Morocco, a new democracy in Morocco, it's authorized to rape a girl if you want to marry her. It's fantastic. The Arab Spring brought the Sharia back to Morocco, and the same in Tunisia. My supporters, my friend in Tunisia are in jail or beaten in the street. Those who organized the revolution, because also their Muslim Brotherhood are taking the power. This is the first goal of OIC: re-Islamize non-submitted Sharia regimes, to submit all those who are apostate, unbelievers, secular, Kemalist, Bourguibist, what you want, socialist, and those who are not Sharia submitted, even those who drink during the Ramadan. Now in Tunisia, it was possible when we were living with my family. We are a Sicilian family from Tunisia. It was possible to drink during the Ramadan. Now, to drink alcohol, even orange juice, now nothing. Tunisia is coming back to the Sharia. Second goal of OIC is to conquer the West and to conquer what Tariq Ramadan and his master, Qardawi, call Dar of Shahada or Dar el-Shahada or Dar el-Da'wa. Europe is seen not anymore as a Christian country, but as a post-Christian country, already submitted to Zimitude, then in a way of Islamization. It's something official. You can hear Qardawi saying it's not anymore Dar al-Harb. It's not a war. The land of the war is the land of predication in the way of Islamization. This is the second goal of OIC, and it's partly achieved in some cities of Europe. What is composed OIC by what? It is composed by the four principal tendencies of the Islamization in the world, what I call the five pole of Islamization. First, Saudi Wahhabism Salafi pole, or tendency. Second, Muslim Brotherhood, very important, the main one, and the supporter of the Arab Spring. After that, underestimated the Turkish Milli Görüş movement, who brought to power AKP in Turkey. It's Milli Görüş, a very powerful organization, like a little bit, it's like a Muslim Brotherhood, but with a Turkish way. And after that, Indo-Pakistani Sunni. All those who want to conquer the West are not Shia. The West is very stupid. We always target only Shia countries like enemies, Syria, Iran, but the only who want to conquer and really plan to conquer the West are Sunni, our friends. And above all, the supporters of OIC, Muslim Brotherhood, Salafi, etc. But you know everything of this. The Islamic Declaration of Human Rights was something very important in 1981 and in 1990. 2 times, OIC with Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and 57 members of OIC, they made an Islamic controversial declaration of human rights based on Islam. It's an opposite to our Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It was the first coup because even the United Nations accepted a certain legitimacy. In the United Nations, Sharia-based Human Rights Declaration of Islam by OIC is considered as not a binding text, but something which is recognized as many texts, is one of the texts who promotes human rights. It was the first submission of United Nations to this strategy of Sharia and Islamization of the West. Now, let's see the concept of defamation of religions. The second step of OIC plan has been implemented successfully inside the United Nations since 1999, when the OIC began to promote the concept of defamation of religion. It was the consequences of the Islamic Declaration of Human Rights. This concept is a serious threat for our democracy values, because it aims to restrict freedom of speech as a way to prevent intolerance and religious hatred. The role of Pakistan. It's important to say that since 1999, the main important supporter of Sharia and OIC Declaration of Human Rights and defamation of religion and penalization of Islamophobia was the most Christianophobic and one of the most totalitarian Ben Laden promoter and Taliban promoter, it names Pakistan, was one of the most intolerant and persecutor countries over the world. It's what I call a mirror accusation. Perhaps to forgive that they are persecuting Christians and they are Christianophobic, perhaps the theme of the subject, the issue of Islamophobia, is to, like someone is making something against you, you accuse him on the contrary, and you accuse him to do what he's doing. It's exactly what I call the mirror accusation. It's the main strategy of OIC. To hide their Christianophobia, which is a crime, a genocide Christianophobia, they accuse us to be what we are not, Islamophobe. Let's come back to OIC decade plan. It was a decade plan until now, organized by OIC, since 2001. 2001, first declaration. December 2005, second time, a resolution about against defamation of religion held by Pakistan. March 2007, a non-binding resolution named Islam as the only religion concerned. It was accepted with 108 votes, and this text was blaming the West for targeting Islam after the September the 11th. And it's very interesting to analyze the strategy of OIC. Instead of making a self-critic and a fighting against the legal Sharia roots of the Islamo-terrorism and September the 11th, the OIC used September the 11th tragedy as a new pretext to make the West feel guilty for accusing it to crucify a Muslim, and by introducing a clash of civilization. It's fantastic. When they bomb us, they accused us to be Islamophobe. It's fantastic. It's like, a psychopath criminal. He always accused the victim. He's never responsible. And it's very interesting to see that the West feel guilty. Perhaps if they bomb us so much, perhaps we did something bad. But, Talleyrand said, when someone hates you, it's not because you did something bad. It's because you did something well to him. but this is psychology. It is psychology. In 2009, 23 countries voted in favor of another resolution. 2010, another resolution on Human Rights Council was voted about defamation of religion. 2010, another time, speaking on the behalf of OIC, Pakistan demanded that UN Human Rights Council took a strong action against Islamophobia and the West, and so on. And in 2011, we are soon finishing, it was the first victory of our camp. Surprisingly, after many years of resistance against OIC concept of defamation of religion, and thanks to the people like David Littman, Roy Brown, I was testimony at the Human Rights Council, I worked with them, they succeeded with states like Canada and others to oppose this human rights defamation religions, this concept. And the UN committee was composed of independent high-level experts who conclude that anti-blasphemy laws, such as those implemented in Egypt, Saudi Arabia or Pakistan, are violating human rights. It's why, to counter this first victory of democracies, despite of this victory, the defamation of religion and Islamophobia concept were reformulated another time by OIC and by other terms with a new resolution named 1618 presented in the Human Rights Council and adopted by consensus. And it was very dangerous because this resolution aimed at the same killing freedom objective, but with other terms. It didn't speak about defamation of religion or Islamophobia, but indirectly fighting against intolerance, negative stereotyping, stigmatization, discrimination, incitement to violence, and violence against individuals because of their religion. The Istanbul Process now, they wanted me to speak about the Istanbul Process. It's very important. After this new resolution, a new strategy to implement this resolution was conceived to convince the West and democracies. And the most clever guy for this plan was someone named by Turkish Prime Minister, Eşanoglu, the General Secretary of OIC, who decided to make Istanbul conference in July 2011. This OIC Istanbul conference aimed to ban any critics of Islam, but without telling this word, Islam, and under the pretext of fighting intolerance against religion. And this intolerance against religion would be the reaction of the West against Islamic attacks. It's fantastic because when they do Islamic attacks, we are accused to be Islamophobe when we describe the fact that it's not a Buddhist attack, it's an Islamic attack. Islamophobia is why even George Bush and Clinton said we are against global terror. Sorry, but I don't know what is global terror. Terror is something. It's Islamic, it can be Palestinian, it can be also extreme right, extreme left, but global terror doesn't mean nothing. It was politically correctness asked by UN. You cannot name the thing, even in the United States. And it's a pity that the United States supported this Istanbul process. And Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama accepted. Even if they said they didn't want to cancel liberty of freedom, they accepted the legitimacy of the Istanbul process, who has an aim to legitimize this last resolution to condemn the fact of criticizing religion. But the only one who doesn't want to criticize his own religion is Islam. Then it was the same than defamation of religion. And it was important because in his outtext, OIC said that we must introduce binding law to limit, officially to limit liberty of freedom. And it was, the text of OIC is clear. We must create the necessary environment conducive to prohibition of defamation of religion and incitement to hatred, violence, discrimination, and to create binding organizations who condemn any critique of religion. This was a very big coup for them, and they created a new concept, the test of consequences. Very interesting. The test of consequences means even if the Muslims are making violence, we must know why. because it was a consequence to a first provocation. When the West target Islam as the source of terrorism, it provoked, or when they burn Quran, or when they caricature Danish cartoon, etc. It's a provocation. And the violence of Muslims burning, killing Christians, like in European Union, they killed the representative of European Union in Morocco after Danish cartoon and Ratisbonne Pope speech. But never one in the European Union, I work here, they said no any comment on this. The first representative official of European Union in Morocco was killed with his child in Morocco in reaction. But it was a reaction. European Union as a appeasement policy, don't speak about that. But if someone insults Islam in Europe, of course, you must speak and you must say that it's a Christian or a Jew or Zionist who did it. Then this test of consequences was very grave, very serious, and it's a pity that America legitimized it, Obama administration, and after that Europe said that she will receive the next conference of Istanbul. First was in Istanbul, secondly in Washington, D.C., and now they want to organize this in Europe. And we are here to say no. We are here to say that we will try to stop this. And you must not underestimate your power. If we make pressure, we can have a big effect here. The European Parliament, since Lisbon Treaty, has more power. The European deputies, MP, can do many, many things. Then don't be afraid, never give up, and you can be sure that we are able to make history, we are able to act in the history, and in really brief conclusion, I will say that we can do two things. My friend Armando Marocchia, that I thank because it's a freedom fighter, president of Oriana Fallaci Memorial, told me, but what do you propose? It's easy to criticize. I propose two things. I think that the history is made by the words, like it's written in Évangile selon Saint Jean. Then, at the strategy of our enemies, the enemies that described Karl Popper, the enemies of tolerance, who use tolerance against tolerance, we must know their strategy. The strategy is to target us as Nazi, fascist, racist. Then, first, we have to reverse this strategy, and we must not be afraid by the fact of using the weapon of the enemy. When the enemy has a very good and efficient weapon, many people of the right wing in France told me, I don't want to target them fascists because fascism is different from Islam and it's a leftist strategy. No, it's an efficient strategy because we are burned. When we speak in every place in Europe, in the West, we are burned. We are targeted as fascist Nazi. We must say the truth. We are resistant against Nazism and the new Nazism, says the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem. The real anti-Semites, the real who want to organize genocide are them, the Islamist Sharia supporters. First, before me, the big philosopher who inspired some conservatives in America, Leo Strauss, described it as he was a Jewish who wanted to leave Germany for Nazism and refugee in America. He told it's reductio ad Hitlerum. And it was fantastic. In 53, he said, they will use this horrible tragedy to target us. And even to criticize a dog, to criticize a mother, to criticize a company, it will be a very big tool because nothing is more horrible than the Shoah. Then be careful, don't be used by your own self-guilty. You can make a memory duty, a memory observation, but don't be guilty if you are not. Reductio ad Hitlerum is using the Shoah and the feel guilty of the West in order to destroy the West, and even Jewish now are victim of the reductio ad Hitlerum because Jewish and Zionist and Israel are criticized as fascist and Nazi. Then we know the tool we must use against them. They are Nazi since Grand Mufti, they are the new fascist, and it's why I say Islamofascism or Islamonism. And second tool, we must say that what is also true, they use the Islamophobia concept only to hide the fact that they are the Judeophobe and the Christianophobe in the world. Those countries constantly persecute Christians. Padre Samuel told that in Turkey they killed Armenians and Assyro-Chaldeans, 2 million of people. In Sudan they killed 2 million of Christians and pagans. In Nigeria they have been killing more than 5,000 people only since 2 years. They kill people everywhere. In Egypt, I am a lobbyist for Copts here in the European Parliament. They kill everyday Copts. And even people in the street, my friend Copts tell me, even my neighbor, it was a good guy, but when they come to pick us and to beat us, people are volunteer. They want their part to also kill us, and it's horrible. This hatred is why I call, and I finish, the new Christianophobia. What is it? The new Christianophobia is to mix Christian and the West. Every Christian, even if it's black, Iraqi, Turkish, is like a spy of the West. The new Christianophobia consists in targeting Christians, the West, as the world civilization, guilty of everything. And we must say, if now the weapon is the feeling guilty, let's use the feeling guilty also. Let's target us at the United Nations, at the European Parliament, with our mayor, our MP, our friends. Let's constantly target them to what they are. They are Christianophobe, fascist, Nazi. They kill Jews, Christian, pagans, atheists, polytheists. Thank you.